As the famous phrase goes, truth is the first casualty in war, and apparently also is our attention span. We're too easily distracted by some rich guy in a submarine on some type of grotesque underwater graveyard tourism visit gone bad. So it was surprising when, over the last couple of days, we've seen real footage of the Ukrainian war for perhaps the very first time. Here's a still shot, since I don't want my video banned by YouTube, of the video released by the Special Operation Forces in Ukraine. It's trench warfare, and it is brutal. In a grotesque, voyeuristic way, most of the commentators under the video wanted to know how they could see more. Cool vids, more like this? I want to see more close quarters fighting. Other commenters asked, how could they get the uncensored version? Which leads me to wonder, how is that Ukrainian counteroffensive going? Funded by the United States.
The Ukrainians are having great success in shooting them down. However, a few got through, big amounts of explosives on them, and they caused a lot of damage on the ground.
The Ukrainians are having good success against Russian drones and missiles, but in the recent strike, there's damage on the ground.
A lot of reports about what's happening in a counteroffensive, and the Deputy Defence Minister for Ukraine has said today that the biggest blow in Kyiv's counteroffensive is yet to come. You haven't seen anything yet.
If it wasn't so serious, it would be laughable,
as it were.
Yeah, the Ukrainians set the conditions for people not to quite understand the complexity of what's going on at the moment last year.
That's exactly right. The conditions are set so you, especially you paying the bill in America, you can't actually find out what the conditions on the ground are. Just keep on writing the checks. Which leads us to David Sachs, the venture capitalist, to summarize the situation. The failing counteroffensive and the peace that could have been. With each passing day, it's becoming clear that the Ukrainian counteroffensive is failing to achieve any of its originally stated objectives. Recall, the Biden administration's bet was that the counteroffensive would roll back Russian territorial gains, cut the land bridge to Crimea, and force Russia to the negotiating table. That is almost certainly not going to happen. So, what's a Biden to do? Either escalate or admit defeat. And that's not going to happen. And most importantly, make sure that no matter who wins next presidential election in November of 2024, make sure the money, the guns continue to flow no matter who wins. According to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and this is not an endorsement in any way, shape, or form, that was the plan all along. In March 2022, there was a proposed peace plan, but the U.S. blocked the deal. War was the plan all along, says Kennedy. He continues, not only is the Biden administration deceiving the American people about the motives of this costly and tragic war, but continually escalating it puts the whole world at risk of nuclear war. Quoting his uncle, President Kennedy, nuclear powers must avert those confrontations which bring an adversary to a choice of either humiliating retreat or a nuclear war. Later this evening, Kennedy will be giving a speech about the Ukrainian war, and I'll be tuning in. I wonder, however, who could have warned us about who actually wins a proxy war or a direct war between the United States and Russia? The answer, of course, is China. China wins a war between the United States and Russia. Who could have warned us about that?
About Russia's place in the world of the 21st century. And were you in their spot, you would be the same, in my view, and I would. Where do they go? I had one interesting comment. Our conversation with Zaganov was repeated with Lebed. They talked about they don't want this NATO expansion. They know it's not in their security interests and on, and said, well, and if you do that, we may have to look to China. And I couldn't help using the colloquial expression from my state by saying to Zaganov, lots of luck in your senior year.
Good luck on your finals. That video was from 26 years ago today. It's doubtful that Biden remembers it, of course. So Biden's been in favor of NATO expansion for at least 26 years. We know that. We see it right on the record. So who could have warned us? Well, let's take the coldest Cold Warrior of them all. Thank you, Peter Smith, for this tweet. George Kennan. For those of you who don't remember, George, he was in charge of the containment policy during the Cold War. Here's the money quote from the old Cold Warrior himself. I think this is the beginning of a new Cold War. I think the Russians will gradually react quite adversely, and it will affect their policies. I think it's a tragic mistake. There is no reason for this whatsoever. No one was threatening anybody else. This expansion would have the founding fathers of this country turn over in their graves. we have signed up to protect a whole series of countries, even though we neither have the resources nor the intention to do so in any serious way. This was May 1998, after Biden made those comments on June 20th of 1997. The Keenan warning is obviously a reference to George Washington and his admonition to be careful of foreign entanglements. So what is the Biden administration's policy in the Ukraine? What is the real intention? Well, quite obviously, it's to feed the American war machine, number one, and number two, distract the American people from the real enemies, being, obviously, the invasion upon our own border and our real enemy, China. I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack. I'm broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth, America's hometown in Massachusetts. Have a great day.